Okay, so we're recording now. And go back to sharing the screen and stuff like that. All right. So we are here. Okay, so I'm going to aim for 1.4 and 1.5 today. And we'll see how it goes. I'll just say a quick word about the quiz. So now you know what the quizzes are like. So every Thursday is either a quiz day or an exam day. So this Thursday will be another quiz, but it looks like the Thursday after that is exam. Okay, so we look at all the Thursdays, quiz, exam, and so on. Okay. So almost everybody got the full credit on the quiz. It's not that hard to do. I mean, I don't really think it should be called a quiz. It's really more like an in-class assignment. I mean, you get to help each other out. You get to use your book. You get to use your notes. Okay, but it's shorter to write Q-U-I-Z, right, than to write I-N-C-L-A-S-S-A-S-S-I-N-G-M-E-N-T, right? So even though it's called a quiz, it's really low pressure. Help each other out. Okay, I do want to mention some things. And I ask for the quiz, please put your name and everybody else in your breakout group's name should be there. Okay, now I may have let it go this time, but I might not be so generous next time, because if you put only your name, then it's more work for me to figure out, you know, who else is in your group. Okay, so my advice is, once you get your breakout room, immediately, right away, put down everybody else's name, put your name, first and last name, everybody else's first and last name, and then you can go ahead and work on it. As far as actually working it out, shouldn't be that big a deal. You work it out. As soon as you get it right, make sure everybody else in your group has it right. And then, you know, just like last time, just take a picture on your cell phone and click, and then submit it. And that's it. Almost everybody got full credit on it. And I guess one way of saying it is almost everybody's getting an A right now, right? Okay, so it's really not that hard to get full credit on the quizzes. And it's not really that hard to get full credit on the participation, right? So save yourself a buffer for when it comes to the exam. Yeah, reminder, for exams, you're allowed to have one cheat sheet, as it were, one formula sheet. So a regular sheet of paper, 8.5 by 11, you can write on front and back for any exams. Okay. All right, so I did some of 1.4 last time. I'll try to do 1.4 and 1.5 and go from there. Okay, I can't see the chat while I'm lecturing, but of course you can always put stuff in the chat. And if Star can help me out, Star might be able to answer the question for me, since Star is our embedded tutor. Okay, so let me put this away and get started with where we were last time. Okay, so we were doing the distance formula, and I'll do some more harder distance formulas. So I think I left off with which point is farther from the origin. So you just find the distance from each of these to the origin, right? And then go from there. Okay, a harder type of problem is 13. So let me do 13. In each case, determine whether a triangle is a right triangle. So how do you do that? Okay, so they give me 3 points. Okay, and from those 3 points, how do you determine if it's a right triangle? So I'll show you how to do one of them. If I do one, you can do the other 2. Okay, so how about I'll do A, because it looks like there's a lot of negatives. So you do B and C. So they give us all these points. Do we have a right triangle or not? So I have to use the distance formula. And again, the distance formula was on page 21. Here it is. Square root of x2 minus x1 squared plus y2 minus y1 squared, right? Okay, so I'll do 13a. All right, and let's see, what day is today? The 25th. So this is 1.4, page 27, 13a. Don't worry if you can't see it yet, I'll always move it. All right, so 7, negative 1. How about I'll call them points A, 7, negative 1. They don't say A, B, and C, but I'll call them A, B, and C. Negative 3, 5. And C is negative 12, negative 10. Okay, so I've used the distance formula 3 times. I have to find the distance from A to B, from B to C, and A to C, and see if any of them satisfy the Pythagorean theorem. Okay. So let's find the distance from A to B. I'll just write the letters A, B, which means the distance from A to B. So a great big square root. So 7 minus a negative 3 squared. And then plus negative 1 minus 5 squared. Like this. Seven minus a negative 3, that's 7 plus 3, 10. Negative 1 minus 5 is negative 6. Okay, 10 squared is 100. Negative 6 squared is 36. I'll just say the square root of 136. And by the way, yes, you could actually reduce this. You can take out a 4, but it's not really necessary now. Okay, we just want to see, if I get a Pythagorean theorem satisfied. So even though this can be simplified, we're not going to. Okay, let's find the distance from A to C. AC. So 7 minus a minus 12 squared. Might have to use a calculator. By the way, you're always allowed to use a calculator on any homework, quiz, exam. Okay, negative 1 minus a negative 10 squared. Negative 1 minus a negative 10 squared. Okay, so these numbers are getting kind of big. So this is 19 squared. Negative 1 plus 10, so that's 9 squared. Now I've got to use a calculator for this. 19 squared is 361. 9 squared is 81. And add them up, 442. Square root of 442. And yeah, that might be reducible also, but we don't really care. We don't need it. Okay, so that's A to C. I got A, B, A, C, and now B, C. So how far is it from here to here? Okay, so distance from B to C, another square root. So negative 3 minus a negative 12 squared. Negative 3 minus a negative 12 squared by formula. 5 minus a negative 10 squared. I'm just using the formula. 5 minus a negative 10 squared. Okay, so these numbers are kind of clumsy again. Let's see, negative 3 plus 12 is 9 squared. 5 plus 10 is 15 squared. Okay, again, get your calculator as necessary. Punch this out. 9 squared is 81. 15 squared is 225. So how much is 225 plus 81? Whoops. $306. Okay, so my three distances are this, this, and this. So let me write them down. So the distances are radical 136, radical 442, and radical 306. Do any two of them add up to the third after we square them? Okay, and so if I square, it'll be a squared plus b squared equals c squared situation. It looks like that squared plus that squared is that squared. So let's try square root of 136 squared plus square root of 306 squared. which is, of course, 136 plus 306. And that's 442. And that, of course, is equal to radical 442 squared. So the Pythagorean theorem does hold. Okay. If I square this, and square this, then these two squared added to this thing squared. So the answer is yes. We have a right triangle. Okay, and if that was not the case, if I square this, add any two of them up, you don't get the third, then you do not have a right triangle. Okay, so that's probably what's going to happen in one of the other ones. Okay, so that's how this particular problem is done. Okay, so there was a lot to this. Let me recap what happened. Okay, so you have 3 points, which make a triangle. Do you have a right angle anywhere? Like, is that a right angle? So I find the distance from A to B. There it is. I find the distance from A to C. There it is. I find the distance from B to C. Came out to be this. Okay. And do I get A squared plus B squared equals C squared? Yes, I do. This thing squared plus this thing squared is equal to this thing squared. So I do have a right triangle. And you do not have a right triangle if that never happens, if that doesn't have to be the case. Okay. So again, I was using this formula over and over, right? The distance formula, where'd it go? This one. Where is it? It's on page 21. Okay. If you want to put it on your formula sheet, you may. Okay, so that's that one. I did problem A. I'll let you do B and C. There is likewise. Okay, 15 was a skip. I told you you can skip problem 15. Just don't worry about that. And now 17 and 19 are left. Okay, 17. Find the midpoint of the line segment joining P and Q. Okay, that's easy. You just average the x's and average the y's. If you want a formula, here it is again, page 25. X1 plus X2 divided by 2, Y1 plus Y2 divided by 2. It basically means average the x's and average the y's. It's not really that big a deal. So how about 17A, 3, 2, and 9, 8. So find a midpoint. Okay, so if I just go straight by formula, add up the x's and divide by 2. Add up the y's and divide by 2. 2 plus 8 over 2. So let's see, that's 12 divided by 2 is 6. 10 divided by 2 is 5. 6, 5. Very easy. And quick double check. Isn't 6 halfway between 3 and 9, right? Halfway between 3 and 9 is 6. Halfway between 2 and 8, 5. It works. Okay, so that's pretty straightforward. I'll show you one more like that where the numbers aren't as nice, maybe. 17B, please. P is negative 4, 0. Q is 5, negative 3. Negative 4, 0, 5, negative 3. Okay, so just average the x's and average the y's. So midpoint. So negative 4 plus 5 divided by 2. Negative 4 plus 5 divided by 2. 0 minus 3 divided by 2. And that's it. So negative 4 plus 5 is 1, so 1/2, and negative 3/2. Let me raise it up so you can see a little bit better. All right, so that's my answer. Of course, this one is not as obvious to tell that that's the point in the middle. This one you can kind of tell, right? You can look at it and say, oh yeah, 6 is halfway between 3 and 9. 5 is halfway between 2 and 8. That's a 5 there. This one's not as obvious, but it has to work because I worked it out by formula. So there we go. Okay. And that's about it. Okay, so problem 19 was the last one that I was going to show you. Again, these are problems right off the homework. So every one I'm doing is one less that you're doing. And I can mark this off, I guess. Okay, and then we have to do 1.5 after that. So 19, what does it say? The given points P and Q are the endpoints of a diameter of a circle. Find the center and the radius of the circle. Okay, so let me write this down. So point P is -4, -2. Q is 6, 4. All right, you don't have to graph this, but I'll just tell you what's happening. They're giving you the endpoints of a diameter. So here's a diameter. So how do I find the center? It's the midpoint, right? So these points P and Q, they say are endpoints of the diameter. So find the center. So to find the center, I average the x's, average the y's. So use the same formula as before. -4 plus 6 over 2. -2 plus 4 over 2. Okay, so -4 plus 6 is 2. 2 divided by 2 is 1. -2 plus 4 is 2. 2 divided by 2 is 1. 1, 1 is the center. Now it asks for the radius of the circle. So to find the radius of the circle, I just find the distance from the center to either point. So I take the center that I now know is 1, 1, and I can pick either this one or this one. I should get the same answer. Can you guess which of these 2 points I'm going to pick? P or Q? I like Q better. They're positive, right? Well, I picked a negative when I don't have to. I'll pick this. Okay. So I want the distance. So I want to find out how far is it from 1, 1 to 6, 4. You could have also picked the other point, but that one has all these negatives, which I don't like. So I use the distance formula. Subtract the x's, square it. Subtract the y's, square it. 6 minus 1 squared plus 4 minus 1 squared. 6 minus 1 squared, 4 minus 1 squared. So that doesn't look too bad. So that's 5 squared, right? 3 squared. 5 squared is 25. 3 squared is 9. Final answer, square root of 34. And that's about it. Okay, if you have any questions, you can put it in the chat or you can unmute yourselves, but I don't see anything right now, so otherwise I'll just go ahead and keep going. All right, so I'm done with 1.4. I was going to do 1.4 and 1.5. 1.4 was supposed to be the first half, but it's only 11:35 or so. Okay, so in my opinion, it's too early to break. So why don't I just go ahead and go on to 1.5 and maybe we'll just finish early. And I don't think anybody objects to that, right? Okay. All right, so let me start off with 1.5. It's a review of graphs and graphing utilities, it says. Okay. So first, let me go ahead and show you all the homework problems. And if I ever forget to do that, then holler and scream at me. Again, what I'm planning to do for the whole semester, show you all the homework problems in case you say to yourself, I never want to buy the book. Okay, so I'll show you that. So if I forgot to do it earlier, then let me know. So I'm up at 1.5. Let's see, 1 to 14 all, 17 to 20 all. And again, looking ahead for the first exam, which is Thursday, February the 4th, it'll cover chapters 1 and 2. So chapters 1 and 2. So you say, when do I turn into homework? All of this, 1.1, 1.2, 1.3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 2.1, 2.2, 2.3, 2.4. All of this, everything here is turned in on the day of the exam. I don't need it before then. So again, I don't need the homework day by day or even week by week. It's test by test. Okay. All right, so I want to show you 1.5. It's only 1 through 14 all, A-L-L, so I'll try to show you the evens, and 17 to 20 all. Okay, so it's a review of graphs and graphing lines and so forth. So let me show you that now, okay? Okay, I'm on page 39. Okay, so hopefully you can read that. There's 1 through 6, roughly. There's 7 and 8. Now, if you have the book, just look in the book, obviously. Okay, 9 and 10. Okay, there's 11 through 14. We don't have to do 15 and 16. So 17 through 20. So let me go to the next page. 17 through 20. And there it is. Okay, obviously, I'm going through this fast. You're not supposed to write it down. Just look in the video later. Sorry, I can't hold it because the book is heavy. Okay, so I'll try to do all the evens for you and maybe some odds. All right. So first questions are simply yes, no. Determine whether the given point lies on the graph of the equation. You are not asked to graph it. Okay. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. They give you a point. See, like number 1, right? 8, 6, or whatever, and they give you an equation. Just plug it in and say, yes, it works. No, it doesn't work. Pretty simple, right? Okay, so how about I do number 2 for you? Don't worry, if you didn't see it, I'm going to write it for you. So 1.5, number 2. They give me this point. Unfortunately, it's a fraction. 1/5, comma, negative 17 over 5. Yes, I know you can't see it yet, but I have to write it on this part of the table. And then the equation they give me is y equals negative 2/3 x minus 3. Okay, so the question is, does this point satisfy this equation? So I just plug in. If it does, I was going to say yes, and if it doesn't, I'm going to say no. So 1/5 goes here, negative 17 over 5 goes here. So I plug in. Negative 17 over 5 equals negative 2/3 times 1/5 minus 3. All right, so I got some pretty bad fractions, it looks like. Negative 17 over 5 equals, let's see, negative 2 over 15 minus, well, 3 is like 3 over 1, right? So multiply by 15, multiply by 15, get a common denominator, right? So negative 3 times 15 is negative 45 over 15. So negative 17 over 5 equals negative 47 over 15. That's certainly not true. That's false. So the answer is simply no. It doesn't work. Right? Get the idea? So just plug in the x and y. If it's an equation that's true, put yes. It didn't work this time, so I'm just going to say no. All right, so I'll do 4. 4, negative 2 And the equation is 3x squared plus y squared equals 52. 3x squared plus y squared equals 52. Okay, so does it work or does it not work? So just plug in. So 3 times 4 squared plus negative 2 squared equals 52. 4 squared is 16. So 3 times 16 plus negative 2 squared is 4. So 3 times 16, you can use your calculator. 3 times 16 is 48. 48 plus 4 is indeed 52. So this one's a yes. It works. Okay, so when they say, is this point on the graph of this? Just plug it in. In this case, yes. In this case, looks like no. I plugged in that and that. I didn't get a true statement. I plugged in 4, negative 2. I do get a true statement. So it's a yes. No big deal. 6 is a little bit harder. A minus 1, A plus 1. Y equals X plus 2. And most math books don't give you the even answers in the back of the book, only the odds. So that's why I'm going to do evens. Okay, so I plug in A minus 1 here, A plus 1 here. Even though there's an A, you can still do it. Okay. So, sorry, there's a stray mark there. A plus 1 equals A minus 1 plus 2. A plus 1 equals A plus 1. Yes, it definitely works. So even though I got a letter in the answer, it doesn't matter. A plus 1 is always the same as A plus 1. So the answer is yes, I do get a true statement. Okay. All right, anytime you have a question, feel free to unmute yourself and ask or put it in the chat. Okay. 7 and 8. Yeah, somebody had a question? No? Okay, so 7 and 8 are similar. You have the answer in the back of the book for 7, but not 8, so I'll do 8. Solve the equation 3x plus 2y equals 6 for y, and then complete the following table. Okay, and then use your table to graph the equation. Okay, 3x plus 2y equals 6. Write that for you. Three x plus 2y equals 6. Solve for y. Make it look like y equals mx plus b, right? So I'll subtract 3x. Now, I'm going to draw an arrow. The arrow means move the 3x over, subtract 3x on both sides. Okay, so your algebra teacher may have written it like this. Okay, you're beyond algebra, so I'm going to draw the arrow. That means move this 3x over. Okay, so that's what I mean. So in the future, you might see me just go like this, and you should know, oh yeah, he subtracted 3x on both sides. It now looks like this. Okay, and now just divide by 2. But let me write this in the form of y equals mx plus b. So I'll put the x first. So negative 3 halves x plus 6 over 2, which is 3. Okay, so that now looks like our favorite y equals mx plus b that you're hopefully familiar with, right? That's what I got. And now they give me this chart to fill out. Okay, so let me put down what the numbers are on the chart. So they have x and y. And of course, if you have the book, you can just look at it. So what do they have? Negative 4, negative 2, 0, 2, and 4. Negative 4, negative 2, 0, 2, little separator here. Okay, so I plug in -4. Two negatives make a positive. So 3 times 4 is 12 divided by 2 is 6. 6 plus 3 is 9. Okay, again, I plug in -4, or you can say -3 times -4 is 12. 12 divided by 2 is 6. 6 plus 3 is 9. -2. -3 times -2 is positive 6. 6 divided by 2 is 3. 3 plus 3 is 6. 0, or 0 times anything is 0, plus 3, 3. 2. 2 cancels this 2, so I have -3 plus 3, 0. 4. Well, that 4 is going to cancel that 2, right? 4 divided by 2 is 2. 2 times -3 is -6. -6 plus 3 is -3. Okay. So there we go. Probably notice a very nice pattern. I just keep subtracting 3, it looks like, right? 9 minus 3 is 6. 6 minus 3 is 3. 3 minus 3 is 0. 0 minus 3 is -3. Okay. And then they want me to graph this. So again, you don't have to bother going out and buying graph paper. Just freehand it. I want you to freehand, like I'm just freehanding like that. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. I have to go up as high as 9. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Something like that. Change colors here. -4, 9. -4, 9. -2, 6. 2, 4, 6. 0, 3. 2, 0. 4, -3. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3. Okay, so something like that. Just play connect the dots. And there's my graph. Okay. All right, so that's that. 10 and 12 and 14, I guess, all of them. What does it say? The graph of each equation is a straight line. Graph the equation after finding the x and y-intercepts. Since you're given that the graph is a line, you need only plot 2 points before drawing the line. Okay, so how do you do that? Here goes. (3x minus 4y equals 12). Okay, it says graph by using the intercepts. All right, now you might recall this from your algebra. If it asks for the x-intercept, so we're using intercepts, I-N-T-E-R-C-E-P-T-S. I'm just going to abbreviate I-N-T, if you don't mind. Intercept, I-N-T. X-intercept means y equals 0. Y-intercept means x equals 0. That sounds counterintuitive. You might think the x-intercept, oh yeah, I got to do something with x, but no, it's y. And likewise, y-intercept, you might think it has something to do with y, but it's actually x that's equal to 0. Okay, so a quick timeout. Okay, if I draw a picture, I'm just making this up. And let's pretend the line looks something like this. This is the y-intercept. This is the x-intercept, right? X-intercept means where does it touch the x-axis? y-intercept, what is it touch the y-axis? But if you take a look at the y-intercept, y is not 0. X is 0, right? Because from the origin, you don't move anywhere left or right, which means x is 0, and then you go up or down. Okay? So it looks like at a y-intercept, x equals 0. And similarly, for an x-intercept, it isn't x that's 0. It's y that's 0, right? Because for this point, if you take a look at this point, I'm not moving anywhere up or down, right? Which means y is 0. Okay. X is not 0. It's moving somewhere else. Okay, so no, this was just a timeout. So to work this out, I just plug in 0 for x, figure out the y, and plug in 0 for y, figure out the x, and go from there. Okay, so let me plug in 0 for x. 3 times 0, 0. So you might as well pretend it's not even there, cover it up. So negative 4y equals 12. Divide by negative 4, y is equal to negative 3. Plug in y equals 0. 0 times anything is 0. Just pretend that's not there. Cover this up. Okay. So 3x equals 12. Divide by 3, x equals 4. So there we go. 0, negative 3, 4, 0. That's 2 points. 2 points is enough to determine a line, so I can graph it, right? One, two, three, 4, 5 maybe. My biggest number is 4, but I'll go up to 5 just in case. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay. All right, 0, negative 3, that's right over there. 4, 0 is over here. And just connect them. And that's about it. Okay, so I was going to stop there, folks, for a break. If anybody has a question, I don't see anything in the chat. Okay, so maybe we'll just go ahead and break now. Okay, so let me stop the share. Unfortunately, we're still recording because I noticed, I said this before, I think, but if I stop the recording, I can't get it back. So I'm going to record even through the break, as it were. So sorry about that. Okay, so I see it's 11:50-ish. Let's start up again about 12:05. Okay, so 12:05, we'll start up again. Okay. All right, so we'll break. I will disappear also for a little while. Okay, folks, it's time to start. So I'm going to try to finish off the rest of the evens, and then that was all I was going to do today. Then I'll give you something hopefully fairly easy for you to do, and we'll be done. Okay, so on the schedule, 1.4 and 1.5, and tomorrow I had 1.5 and 1.6. I think I'm going to finish 1.5, so I'll be a little bit ahead, as it turns out, which I think is fine. Okay, so let me show you how to do the other ones that are just like that. So that was number 10. Okay, number 12, please. And I'll do 14. Okay, so I'll do all the evens since you don't have the even answers in the back. X equals 2y minus 4. So let's try that one. Oops, didn't want that to be in red. But anyway. All right, so they just asked for the intercepts. So when x is 0, figure out the y. When y is 0, figure out the x. Okay, so if I put a 0 right here, 0 equals 2y minus 4. Add 4 to both sides. That's what I mean by that arrow. It's just like putting plus 4 plus 4. 4 equals 2y. So y is equal to 2. Now let y be 0. Put a 0 here. Well, 2 times 0 is 0. 0 minus 4 is negative 4. So these are my intercepts. All right? So again, x-intercept, plug in y is 0. Y-intercept, plug in x is 0. So here we are. So let's plot it. Make myself a graph. And you can do likewise, just freehand. Don't go out and buy graph paper. Not necessary. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1. Okay, 0, 2, that's up here. Negative 4, 0. There's a negative there. Negative 1, 2, 3, 4, 0 is like there. Okay, then just connect them. And there we go. Okay, then the only other one like that I'll show you is 14. The last even one like that. They give me 2x minus 3y equals 6. 2x minus 3y equals 6. Okay, so it shouldn't be too bad. Find the zeros. X is 0, figure out the y. Y is 0, figure out the x. Okay, put a 0 right there. 2 times 0 is 0, so you might as well just cover it up. Negative 3y equals 6. Divide by negative 3. Y is negative 2. Plug in 0 for y. 0 times anything is 0, so just forget that. Cover that up. So if I cover this up, it says 2x equals 6. If 2x equals 6, that means x equals 3. Right. So quite often, you just, when I plug in 0, you know it's nothing, so you just kind of cover up that part. Okay, 0, negative 2, 3, 0. And that should be a very easy graph. Let's see, I only have to go out to 3, so maybe I'll just put 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, 0, negative 2, that's down here. 3, 0 is over here. Connect them. There we go. Okay, again, if you have a question, feel free to put it in the chat. I don't see anything in the chat right now. So we'll just keep going. Okay, so I think I've literally done all the evens up to 14. So 17 to 20, I'll just do 18, I'll do 20, then I'm finished, folks. Okay. Well, 18 has parts A and B, and 20 also has parts A and B, so we're not going to be finished that early, but I think we'll still finish early. So 17, 18, 19, 20, determine X or Y intercepts for the graph. You're not asked to draw the graph. Okay, so once again, we'll find the intercepts, but these are a little bit harder because they're quadratics. That means they're squared in there or even some cubes. Okay, so again, I'll do the evens, 18 A, B, 20 A and B, and the odds you have the answers in the back of the book. Okay. So 18A, Y equals X squared minus 4X minus 12. Plug in X is 0, that's easy. 0 there, that's 0. 0 there, that's 0, so negative 12. Right? 0 squared is 0. Negative 4 times 0 is 0. Add them up, you get 0, so negative 12. Okay. What's a little bit harder is Y equals 0, right? So let me plug in Y equals 0. And looks like we got to do some factoring. Okay, so recall from factoring, X squared is X times X. I have a negative number here, which means these two signs are opposite. One's a plus and one's a minus. So what two numbers have a product of 12? And the difference is 4. When I subtract the two numbers, I get 4. When you multiply them, you get 12. That's 6 and 2, right? 2. Which one gets the minus? Which one gets the plus? Well, you want to end up with a negative. So negative should go with a larger number. Like that. And you might recall it the other way around. If this was a plus, then the plus would be with a 6 and the minus would be with a 2. Okay. Then by the 0 factor property, if this times this equals 0, that means either this one is 0 or this one is 0. Okay, what number would make this expression 0? Well, 6. And what number would make this 0? Negative 2. And remember, we're doing the y quarter to 0. So now to write down all the intercepts, we had 0, negative 12. And then both of these are with y as 0. So 6, 0, and negative 2, 0. So finally, that's what I want for my answer. Okay. 0, negative 12, 6, 0, negative 2, 0. Those are all the intercepts. That's where the graph touches the x and y axes. Okay, so that's how you do that kind of problem. I'll do B, which is another one like that. Y equals x squared minus 4x plus 12. Okay. For 18b, x squared minus 4x plus 12. And once again, it's very easy to plug in x is 0, 0, 0 plus 12, 0, 12. That's it. Y equals 0 is a little bit harder. 0 equals x squared minus 4x plus 12. Now, at first glance, this looks very similar to the previous problem, except this one has a minus, this one has a plus. Okay. It turns out this cannot be factored. So what do you do if you can't factor it? You can use the quadratic formula, right? So A is 1, B is -4, C is 12, right? Raise it up a little bit for you so you can see it better. A is 1, B is -4, C is 12. So quadratic formula to the rescue. Quadratic formula. X is equal to -b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. Once again, yes, you are allowed to put it on your formula sheet if you want. If we were meeting face-to-face, I'd make you guys memorize it. Your previous teachers may have made you memorize it. We were instructed, because we're, in the COVID and restrictions, try to make things a little bit easier. So the way I'm making things a little easier is letting you have a formula sheet. Okay. So you say, I forgot the quadratic formula, put it on your cheat sheet. Okay. So I throw it in here. A is 1, B is -4, C is 12. A is 1, C is B is -4, C is 12. So here we go. Negative b is -4, that's +4, plus or minus the square root. B squared, -4 squared is 16, minus 4 times A times C, all over 2 times A, 2 times 1. Okay, I can already see what's going to happen. Can you see what's going to happen underneath the square root? It's going to be a negative, right? My little scratch paper, it's 16 minus 48. 4 times 1 times 12 is 48. It's a negative. Okay. So we can't graph that. Now, we are going to do some imaginary numbers in this class, with I. You might remember the I stuff. If you don't remember anything about I and the square root of negative numbers, don't worry. We'll get to it eventually. But this can't happen for real numbers. Okay. So can't for real numbers. Okay, so what does that mean for intercepts? All we have is 0, 12. 0, 12 is the only intercept. Okay. In other words, y cannot be 0. Okay. I tried to let y equal 0. I plug in a quadratic formula. I don't get any real numbers. I just get the imaginary stuff. So that's it for that one. Okay. Okay, so that was 18A and B. I have 20 left to do, and then I'm finished, folks. So 20A, 20B, probably finish within the next 10 minutes. I'll let you do something in class, and then we're done for the day. How's that? Okay, these are cubics. 6x cubed plus 9x squared plus x. And then B is 9x cubed plus 6x squared plus x. That's kind of similar. Okay, so we'll try it. 20A. Y is equal to 6x cubed plus 9x squared plus x. Find the intercepts. Is it pretty obvious what happens when you plug in 0? What do you get when you plug in 0? 0. 0 cubed is 0. 0 squared is 0. 6 times 0 is 0. 9 times 0 is 0. 0 plus 0 plus 0 is 0. Okay, so the harder part is to let y be 0. 0 equals 6x cubed plus 9x squared plus x. Now, how about factor out an x? X squared plus 9x plus 1. So by the 0 factor property, either this or this is 0. So x equals 0, which gives us 0, 0. We already got that. And this one, we use quadratic formula. Or not, but let's do it so we can practice it. All right, quadratic formula. A is 6, B is 9, C is 1. So x is negative b, negative 9, plus or minus the square root of b squared. 9 squared is 81, minus 4ac, 4 times 6 times 1, all over 2a, 2 times 6. Let me raise it up for better focus. I'll go up and down a little. You can always watch the video. Okay, this one is going to be real numbers, but maybe they don't come out so good. This is 81 minus 24. 81 minus 24, punch it in a calculator, 57, all over 12. All right, so final answer for this one, 0, 0, and negative 9 plus or minus radical 57 over 12, comma 0. Okay. You can leave it like that, although mind you, when I write it like that, that's really 2 points. So I have 3 total points. 0, 0, negative 9 minus radical 57 over 12, comma 0, negative 9 plus radical 57 over 12, comma 0. We'll just leave it like that. I mean, this is not a calculator class. You could punch it in the calculator, but we don't feel like it, so just stop there. Okay. All right, last one, then I'm done, folks. 20b over here. Y equals 9x cubed plus 6x squared plus x. Okay. Y equals 9x squared, whoops, 9x cubed, sorry, plus 6x squared plus x. So when I finish this one, I literally would have done all the evens. Yeah, which means I can mark this off. Okay, so your job is to just do the odds and anything else that I've covered. Okay, same thing, factor out an x. This one looks factorable, right? What two numbers have a product of 9 and a sum of 6? 3 and 3. Double check with foiling it back out, right? Let's do it. That times that, that times that, that times that, that times that. First, 9x squared plus outer 3x. Inner is another 3x. 3x plus 3x is 6x. And then the 1. I'm going to write it as 3x plus 1 squared. So that means either this is 0 or this is 0. And they're both fairly easy. Well, x equals 0 means it's done, and I just have to set that equal to 0. So coming up the top here, x equals 0 or 3x plus 1 equals 0. Okay. X equals 0 means x equals 0, that's it. This one, subtract 1, divide by 3, x equals negative 1/3. Okay, and each of these are with y equal to 0. So I have 0, 0, and negative 1/3, 0, and that's about it. And that should do it, folks. Okay, so I think I've literally done all the evens. You go back and do the odds. If you're not sure how to do an odd, just look at the even one right next to it that I did, and it works out pretty much the same way. Okay, I'm finished, folks. Something in the chat, maybe. Let me take a look. Okay, go over 18b again. Okay, let's see, 18b. So 18b, plug in 0, you get 12. Y equals 0. X squared minus 4x plus 12. That's not factorable. I use the quadratic formula. But when I use the quadratic formula, I end up taking the square root of a negative. It's going to be 16 minus 48, which you can't do right now for real numbers. Okay. So the only intercept is just 0, 12. So that's what we have over here. Okay. Yes, I realize I might be going fast or writing fast, but remember, you can always look at the video and check out the video a little bit later, too. Okay. All right, so I think I'm done with that. 18b, I'll show it to you again in case I was going too fast. There's that. Plug it in the quadratic formula. And here we go. Okay. Any other questions, please? You can either unmute yourselves or put it in the chat. If not, I'll give you something to do, and then we're done for the day. Okay, so I don't see anything. I don't hear anything. All right, so here we go. I'll show you the problems. They are from the book. Again, when you give your answer, okay, normally you're supposed to show your work. For now, it's kind of hard to type it out on chat. So when you submit the homework, show me all your work. When you submit a quiz, show me all your work. When you submit the test, show me all your work. But for these in-class assignments, you don't have to show me your work. Okay. Let's see. Yeah, that's fine. Somebody wants to ask me something on the quiz, that's fine. Okay, so I'll give it to you. Again, when you send it to the chat, please send it as a private chat. If you send a public chat, then everybody else can just look at it. Then somebody can just look at what somebody else wrote and type it in. That's pretty much about it. Okay, so send me a private chat for your answer, and if you submit it, then you can leave. Okay, so you don't have to show me work for this. Okay, so let's see. Yeah. Now, I'm going to hold this up only for about 15 seconds. You can either use the book or take a picture on your cell phone and go from there. I want you to do 1 and 3. Okay, this is on page 39. 1 and 3. It's yes or no. Okay, 8, 6. Y equals 1/2 x plus 3. Does it work or does it not work? Same thing for number 3. 4, 3. 3x squared plus y squared equals 52. Just answer yes or no for number 1. For number 1, yes or no. 3, yes or no. Okay, I'll hold it up just for a few more seconds. Again, 8, 6. Y equals 1/2 x plus 3. Write it down, or if you have it in the book, just use it, or take a picture, or do a screenshot. Just 1 and 3. So just put 1, yes or no, 3, yes or no. Private chat to me, please, then you can leave. 8, 6, y equals 1/2 x plus 3. Number 3, 4, 3, 3x squared plus y squared equals 52. Normally, you would show your work. Here, you don't have to show your work. Just do it and then type it. And if you have no other questions, you're free to leave, and I'll see you tomorrow. Okay, just about another 10 seconds, and then I'll assume that you got it. And then this book is getting heavy, so I'm going to put it down in a way. Okay, so that'll be about it, folks. Okay, so I'll pick this down. I will stop sharing, and I will also turn off the recording because nothing else to record.